We did.
All right, very good. All right.
Fill my bowl up, not knowing that you had a gift at the door.
I know, yeah, I seen that.
So you didn't want to like me.
Well, I figured I gotta go to the swim meet after this, so I'll just take it with me.
There you go.
Then I
There you
don't
go.
have to. Right over there.
Oh, here it is.
That was quick.
Good evening, everyone. We'll call ourselves to order, and if you rise for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Dr. Casey, do you have anybody with you who wants to start us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Hi, how are you guys this evening?
Hi.
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 Hi. Would you like to start us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, we'll put our hands on our hearts and go ahead.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. You guys did a fantastic job. Call roll. Dr. O'Neill? Present. Mr. Heater?
Present.
Ms. Barnes-Griffin?
Present.
Dr. Washburn?
Present.
Mr. Urban? Present. Mr. Lowe?
Present.
Show everyone present. We have the spotlight this evening. We have recognition. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'd like to, we don't often do this. I don't know what that says about our leadership team, but today we get to recognize one of our senior leaders, Steve Spradlin, receiving a COSIN certification. And he also has with him Bill Stein and Darlene Kennedy from the Indiana CTO that will be given the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us today. We'd like to recognize Steve today. A few years ago, he took part in what we call the CTO to be program, where you get to be paired with a mentor to work through educational technology leadership skills. They lean on the framework of skills that covers leadership, vision, supporting the learning environment, and understanding business as well. After that, he took some time to study and then went on to take his CETL exam. The CETL exam is an internationally accredited exam that is quite robust and difficult, and he passed his exam recently. So I think he rounds us out at about 50 throughout the state, which puts us in the top 5 in the nation. So we wanted to be able to recognize him today.
Hello, again, my name's Bill Stein. I'm from Mount Vernon Schools. Everyone know where Mount Vernon Fortville is?
Yes.
Okay, that's not me. I'm from the other Mount Vernon, down by Evansville. No, I've been a tech director for 34 years, and it was a pleasure being Steve's mentor. And you can really tell what it's going to be like when you get in these relationships with a mentee about, regarding the questions they ask. And I noticed right off the bat, Steve was asking all the right questions, and I knew that he was going to get his certification and then eventually become a CTO. So I'd like to present Steve this CETL paperweight, because in technology we use lots of paperweights for some reason. But Steve, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So, Steve, don't run off. All of us see your emails occasionally, and much appreciated. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your world within Muncie Community Schools and in the broader community?
Okay, I've actually been here with the district for almost 25 years. It's funny, I practiced and taught as a 19-year-old in this district. So from 19 to now, Muncie Community Schools, and then elementary, that was my first principal right there. And coached swimming for 20 years at Muncie Central, coached honors, science, math, instructional technology coach. So I literally went from practical teaching to this. So still in Muncie, my wife's at the hospital, and we are happy to make Muncie our home. I'm from Southern Indiana originally too, but I like this town. I like not being from here, but coming here and kind of making it my own. So
Where are you from in Southern Indiana?
Boonville.
Okay,
Yep. So
down outside, is Boonville near Jasonville?
no, it's Warwick County. It's near Newburgh.
Newburgh, okay.
So yeah. So
So you
started
guys were a natural fit.
Yeah. But started as I think they paired a student who has technology background. I had the education background, but then a few years back, got my MBA from Indiana State with I was in the leadership cohort with the same one that Dr. Jenner went through. She was cohort 1, I was cohort 2 at Indiana State. So I got my MBA, and then just kind of education and the business side kind of made a nice mesh for this. So.
Well, Mr. Spradlin, on behalf of the board, I want to say thank you for all that you do. And I hear your name come up frequently, and it's always in a sense of, well, Steve's going to solve that for us.
He's going to try. Actually, it's my team, and when you have a teacher that I know the education, I talk to the principals, but you got to give all the credit to the team. Those people have been here forever too, and they do all the work. And Mr. Joe back there listening on the microphone. So those are the folks that make it work. So I just help guide them.
Well, thank you for everything that you do, and we are just blessed to have you.
Thank you.
Reynolds?
Yeah, it's a great way to kick us off.
It is a great way. Southview Elementary. You guys ready?
Good evening.
Good
We're
evening.
so excited to be with you this evening. I am Casey Smithman, proud principal of Southview Elementary School. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Amaya Denise Johnson. Hi, my name is Tyler Benson.
Hi, Tyler.
I'm Sean Davis. I'm the assistant at Southview.
Also have a couple of our parents who will let you introduce themselves in a minute, and Miss Thompson, a first grade teacher, and Miss Amy Heath, our instructional coach, master teacher. So we're very excited to be with you this evening and talk a little bit about the power of interventions at Southview and some of the interventions that have taken place that have really helped propel us forward. Keep on going past that picture.
I'm not good with this thing. Look, I need Steve back. So when we look at the power of interventions at Southview, we had to take time and start looking at what we were doing as far as accountability. And in order to be accountable to our students and to our teachers, we had to do data meetings that allowed for us to plan, do, check, act. And we would review the data, make necessary adjustments, and then we would reteach lessons as needed so that students who were not doing well would then do well in that area. We had to look at the different types of systems. When you look at uncoupled systems, everyone and everything is going in different directions, and there's no shared sense of camaraderie, there's no shared sense of goals. And as we got to Southview, that's what we saw. And so over time, we started to build like a loosely uncoupled system. Everybody was going in the same direction. We had goals, and we were all on the same page. And then we got very aligned. And in order for systems to work, in order for people to be good at what they do, and for students to learn what we need for them to learn when we need them to learn it, we all needed to be aligned. So goals are the same. Everyone understands what their focus is, and we use a common language in all areas. So in math, we don't use times. I know when I was growing up, it was times. But for kids, we use the words multiplication, subtraction, addition. We make sure they're using proper language, and we're using that common language from K all the way up to 5.
So we are super blessed at Southview. We have lots of interventionists, and we consider everybody an interventionist at Southview. From our administrators are working with children. I'm going to give a shout out to RBE. They're here. They work with our students, and then we have lots of volunteers. I'm going to spotlight two stories. One, we had a student that had severe trauma from the loss of her father. Learning was unlocked through neurographic art therapy. From grades K through 1, she did not know her alphabet. And then after doing some sessions this year, at the beginning of this year, with Lori Lunsford, she was able to start learning to read. And then we have another story and from a student from Southview that came a couple of years ago and that our team has supported. And he's going to tell his story in his own words.
Hey, my name's Tyler. I learned how to read by everybody helping me. I read books. My mom tried to help me read too, about how to move. When I heard about how to move, I said, no, no, no. My mom and dad got money. I love Southview Star. That means all of you guys.
Thank you.
Next, we would like to introduce one of our teachers, Ms. Thompson. She's going to share some of her experiences with interventions. This teacher was spotlighted by the Indiana Literacy Cadre and was also a featured teacher by Haggerty. Haggerty Bridge to Writing is our new writing curriculum, and here's Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
As Ms. Amy said, my name is Brianna Thompson, and I'm honored to speak with you tonight. As a first grade teacher at Southview, my goal has always been to create a learning environment where every student feels seen, valued, empowered to achieve their potential. Over the past few years, I've focused on professional growth by incorporating culturally responsive teaching strategies and seeking leadership opportunities to address challenges within our school. This includes partnering with Amy and Laura to be a host teacher in what we call learning walks. These learning walks are where a teacher models a new strategy or teaching technique for other teachers to later implement within their own classrooms. Although I do not like being put on the spotlight, these opportunities have pushed me to become a better teacher and a better educator by allowing me to seek out avenues of leadership while also modeling to my students that it's okay to do things that are a little scary. This year, due to my learning, I have achieved high growth in reading scores amongst my students, and it is due to implementing differentiated reading groups, consistent progress monitoring, and consistent data chats with my students. I use these techniques to enhance my small group reading interventions with the 6-step lesson plan infused with the science of reading. Moving forward, I aim to further support my students' success by continuing to be open to the support that my administration gives me, and by being an example for other educators by continuing to lead during our learning walks. We have another one coming up soon. Thank you for your dedication and support of the educators and our students. With the continued support and progress, I'm sure we can continue to make a lasting impact on every student's life.
Thank you.
Next, we want to introduce one of our volunteers, and I have to brag on her. She's in our building 30 to 40 hours a week volunteering with our students.
Hi, my name is Autumn. I am a volunteer at Southview, and I just wanted to share my story with you today. It has always been a dream of mine to become a teacher of some sort. And the older I got, I lost all hope until one day my husband told me, "You're never too old to follow your dream." I started volunteering here at Southview 3 years ago. It was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. But I had to get a job to help my husband bring in more money for our family. So I did find a job, and I worked there for a year.
But something happened in that year, and it was the one thing that changed my life forever. My husband, my kid, my husband, my kid's father, my best friend passed away in August 6, 2003, from respiratory arrest. Ever since then, I've taken the words of his advice, and I'm going after my dream. And And because I'm not as outspoken like he was, one thing he used to always tell me was to grow a backbone. But because it was hard for me, he would say, I'll be your backbone until you find yours. Then I'll help you install it. At Southview, what I do is like an interventionist. I pull students one-on-one and in groups. I help teachers with whatever they may need. I also stand in and help a kindergarten teacher around her class. I help with keeping her students on task and giving her an extra hand with whatever she may need done around her classroom every day. I'm always asking if she needs anything or trying to help as much as I can.
That's okay.
To fulfill my dream to eventually become a teacher, I have to finish up my GED studies. But now I'm officially finished with my studies and I'm getting ready to take the test. And Dr. Casey said that when I passed my test, I could possibly officially be a part of the Southview family. To conclude, I just want to take the time to thank Dr. Casey, Ms. Davis, and Ms. Amy, as well as the rest of the staff at Southview, for welcoming me into the building and treating me like part of the family. I also want to thank all of you for allowing parents to volunteer here at the school and helping make my dreams and hopefully some others' dreams come true. This means the world to me. Thank you all so much for gifting me this opportunity of being a part of the Southview family and bringing my dreams to life. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We also have another parent, Miss Heather. She's going to come to you and talk to you about her experiences with Southview. At first, I don't know that Heather would have said it was so great because Heather's students had a little bit of an attendance problem. And so, you know, we talked to Heather repeatedly about that. And so Miss Heather decided, you know what? It's my time to get it and get it moving. So without further ado, Miss Heather.
I'm so nervous, but so hi everyone. My name is Heather Gamble. My son Easton Eller is 5 years old, currently a student in Miss Tucker's kindergarten class at Southview Elementary School. And when he grows up, he wants to be a veterinarian. Some things I'm about to say today in front of everyone, I'm saying to encourage anyone who has ever wanted to help make change in a child's life. The last year when Easton started preschool, everyday struggles were really getting the best of me. As a single parent with 3 children, working 12-hour shifts, bills, doctor's appointments, and keeping up my home, while at the same time, my son Skylar, who was 15 years old, became very paranoid and starting having delusions. I was becoming defeated, and I was just plain tired. This resulted in me putting my children's education on the back burner. I would do the bare minimum, and I really didn't think about future possibilities as long as I could get day by day. I'm gonna get emotional because of everything already. Okay, then one morning, there was a knock on my door. It was a Miss Wendy and another staff member from Southview Elementary. Even though I invited them in, I wasn't sure if I liked this or not at the time. But after they took Easton and my daughter to school for me that day, that morning, and offered whatever help I needed that day on my porch, the seed was planted. Maisie, my daughter, was a 5th grader at the time, and because of her IEP, was able to take the bus to and from school every day. Easton, after being open and honest with all the staff members at Southview, we all decided it was best over the summer I come up with a plan and that they would have my and that they would back me up 100%. So that's exactly what I did. The support at Southview has provided me over the summer and through this year has that the support that Southview has provided me over the summer and through this year has been life-changing for my children and I. Even the littlest things like getting him to school on time every day and the drop-off line Dr. Casey and the other staff members opening my car door to let Easton out, telling me, "Good job, Mom," and giving me thumbs up, gave me more encouragement to keep doing better. Or anytime I go into the school building, being greeted by Mr. Rucker at the front desk with his upbeat personality and jokes. I never thought I could be so open and honest at my child's school and not feel judged. Having help from Southview has helped my self-esteem, made me a better parent, and has helped me realize how important education is for my children. So if at any time any of you feel discouraged or think your efforts are going unnoticed, just know that they are not. Every hug, every smile, every thumbs up means more than you will ever know. So with that being said, I want to thank Dr. Casey, Ms. Davis, Mr. Rucker, and all the staff members at Southview. A special thank you to Ms. Tucker for being an amazing kindergarten teacher and letting all your students know that you love them every day by literally telling them. Ms. Thompson, his twin, Ms. Johnson, for Easton's veterinarian set for Christmas, encouraging his dreams even after he has moved on to another grade. He named his rabbit Pepper Johnson, by the way, that came with the set. And Miss Wendy, thank you for being my guiding light, my support, my shoulder to cry on. You hold a special place in my heart, along with everyone at Southview Elementary. Thank you for helping change my children's futures and helping Easton shine like the Southview star he is. I don't want to get back to this.
So just a second. Heather, right?
Yes.
Autumn, why don't you come on up too? I just want to,
This is Ms. Tucker's assistant, by the way. I didn't realize it
Okay.
until she started speaking. She's in Easton's life every day.
on behalf of the board, oftentimes we refer to in our writings the MCS family. And I'm just so proud to have both of you part of the MCS family and doing what you're doing and, really stretching yourselves tonight. It's not easy to come up here and talk to us. But I just want to take a moment and sincerely thank both of you for enriching MCS and our lives by what you're doing. And Heather, believe me, there's a lot of times in my life where I think all of us feel overwhelmed from time to time, and we need somebody to help us get our feet on the floor. And, thanks to you for, having the impetus to take that lead and we'll go with it. And Autumn, just, keep pursuing your dreams. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
28.
Oh, my goodness.
Here, baby.
You know what I would do? I would set a goal to have your teaching license by the time you're 35. You can do it. That's, just yesterday I woke up and I was 22. And now I'm 59. We don't think, when you talk about day to day and you think about goals, you've got time and you're both fully capable of meeting them. So just thank you so much. You've made my night much better. Not that Dr. Reynolds doesn't. But I just want to take a moment and say thank you for your courage and for all that you bring to us. Dr. Casey?
So talk a little bit about, you see a piece of our community, but we have so many community members who are pouring into Southview to build what we have. So the start of that would be the Marian Literacy Cadre. So part of Amy's work has been the learning walk that you'll hear about a little bit later, I think, with Miss Laura here tonight too. So that's one of the pieces is we have Marian.
We also have a lot of community engagement and volunteers. First Pres is a church that partners with us, and so they have a lot of volunteers who come in every day or on a regular basis. They help with our food pantry. They also help in the classrooms. They are an integral part of what we do. We also have Dr. Fletcher from Ball State. She is always working with us and helping us. We have family and community engagement partnership with with Ms. Willisha Scaife. She's helping us learn how to work with parents and families. So that's really great. We have Real Black Excellence. They do an amazing job coming in, working with our students, giving them some of that tier 2, tier 3 learning that they need. We also have The Gathering and some other churches who donate food for us during those times when we have those long breaks. Our kids are oftentimes home, sometimes by themselves, so they need things that they themselves can go grab and eat, or, you know, take a little cup of applesauce and have a quick meal. So thank you to The Gathering, United Way, BY5. We partner with quite a few people with our community engagement. We also partner with Ivy Tech and the MAC. She is clicker happy over there. I'm trying to keep up. We partner with Ivy Tech and the MAC. They have students who come and do some one-on-one with our students. We had about 27 students first semester. They do the small group instruction also, that tier 2 learning. Our community engagement with Ball State. Also, we have 3 immersive learning courses. We have about 58 students from Ball State, and we have the master's PhD speech, pathology. They hosted our literacy clinic, and it has been wonderful to have Ball State back in our building. We really love the work that they're doing with us and for us. We have a lot of tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 things that need to be done, and so we need all hands on deck. So it's wonderful to be able to have all those bodies and to have those interventionists that we have, along with our community partners, to help us move to the next level. Some of our students need that tier 2 targeted instruction, and then we have some who need that more intense tier 3 one-on-one. So they get that one-on-one instruction for about 15, 20 minutes to really drive home whatever skill we're trying to make sure that they have. We also have our attendance. It is looking very good this year. The first year we were there, it was less than 90%, and our goal is always to be above 90%. Year 2, it went up to about between 90 and 94% for most of the year. And then currently we're at 94% or above. So we've really worked hard on our attendance. Dr. Casey, Miss Wendy have really been knocking on doors and driving them to school. And one of the things that we do, we partner with some of our community partners, and we talk about ways to help our families get jobs. Because if people have jobs, then their kids, they have to get up to go to work. So the kids got to get up to go to school, which helps improve our attendance, which in the end improves their academics. So we are really working hard with our community to make sure that our attendance is looking good. And we're also working on our discipline and our suspensions and our suspension rate. Our first year for semester 1, we had about 335 suspensions, and about the same about semester 2. So, and then year 2, we had 113 in first semester and about 35 during the second semester. And right now we're at about 61 suspensions. So it's getting better, much better.
For the whole year?
For the year.
Wow.
Yes. So it's getting better. The previous year combined, we had maybe about 150 combined. So we are looking to improve and make sure that our students are on the same page that we are as far as it pertains to behaviorally growing and academic growth.
So I think you see the power of interventions no better place than in our iRead. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure to be a third grade teacher because you not only take one standardized test, but you take 2. And now as the laws have increased so that we have to look at retention around iRead, that's a lot of pressure. And so we start monitoring those kids very early. I mean, honestly, in first and second grade, we're having hard looks at the kids and what do we need to do to increase their reading scores? Because this is really a baseline reading test. And so a lot of difficult conversations happening in second grade. By third grade, the rubber's hitting the road. And so along with Dr. Cassidy from Ball State, we have the iReady test that gives us that prediction. So we can really look at the kids and figure out who is on the bubble and who is in danger of not passing that test. And so our first year, our iRead score percentage was 38% pass, not at all acceptable to us. And so looking at how do we target those interventions, Ms. Davis and I came in mid-year, Amy came in. So we were all scrambling to try and hit that target. Last year, that second year, 52%, with just a short amount of time to work on it. And then last year, at the first pass, so you're seeing that 70% is a second pass. And so how do we target those kids from the beginning when we look at their iReady scores, and then at the first pass, changing again? What do we need to do? So we're constantly staying nimble with our kids in the intervention, and having all of these people who pour into our students really helps us to be nimble and give our kids exactly what they need to get that 70%. Right now, we're fingers crossed looking at 80% or maybe above. So very excited to look at that. Now, I can knock on some wood, but really, really feeling hopeful about where our kids are headed with our iRead scores.
So
Yes, sir.
I want to, these are the checkpoints you're getting ready to go to on math growth, but the iRead, you've seen your mid-year numbers, and is that where you're getting the possible projection of 80% pass after the second test?
So Dr. Reynolds and Ms. Heidi and Eric take us through the charts of that. We have much more intensive charts that hang on Amy's wall where we have every single kid. We look at their iReady and we're looking at what we're doing with them. We have a plan for every single individual kid, and then our prediction on what we know about that child and what they can do.
I want to take a moment and applaud what you've done at Southview in terms of reading and literacy. That growth is, those numbers are inescapably positive. And you and I have talked at the ETT meetings about just the critical nature of this. So thank you very much for what you're doing down there, all of you.
Our kids started behind the 8 ball. And so, sometimes when you look at just their iLearn pass rate, that doesn't tell the story. It doesn't tell all the story at all. We are currently in comprehensive school improvement, CSI status, which means that you're in that bottom 10% of the state. We have looked at our federal report card. We won't know the final results until about the end of January, but we believe, based on that report card, that we'll be exiting CSI status this year. So we can't say that's official yet. So we're fingers crossed with Amy Parker from our DOE rep, but we believe based on where we're headed, and that's so much based on growth. Some of it is attendance. I point to Miss Wendy. So that's one of the score markers for that, but a lot of that is about growth. So every student has a growth target. So if your kid is going to get to that pass rate, and so the iLearn does look at that growth target, which is kind of behind the scenes. You don't see that on that pass rate. So we're very excited about where our kids are going and where they're headed.
When did Miss Wendy, remind me when Miss Wendy joined?
Miss Wendy, back here.
Stand up, Miss Wendy.
Stand up, Miss Wendy. Thank you. So when did
She's Brianna's mom, by the way.
Oh, my goodness. That's just fantastic.
And Brianna's my goddaughter, by the way.
Yes.
And
Brianna was very excited that her mom was going to be here cheering for her.
And it was before you, Dr. Casey, we were at the Educational Transformation Team meetings for the grants, and we were talking about absenteeism. And I said at one point, well, why don't we just go get them?
We go get them.
So,
we go get them.
I am just so proud of you. Because about half the room looked at me like I was nuts.
No, we go get them. And if you don't answer the door, we knock on your neighbor's doors. So, yeah.
You peck on the window until something.
Yes, sir. No,
Okay, well, thank you.
No, we go get them. Yeah, we want our babies in school. And we often pick them up.
That's your story.
Yes. Yeah. We found a lot of times that it's the grandparent that lives next door. That's one of those things that we've learned too. So we learn that a lot. We learn a lot by just, and then the neighbors know too that we'll come. So.
Well, I apologize for the interruption, but I wanted to take a moment and highlight that.
Thank you.
It's well done.
So interventions builds capacity for extensions. And so we have a lot of different programs at Southview, like we have the Muncie Civic STEM clubs, we make books. And we're currently planning and preparing to celebrate Black History Month. And we thought you would like to meet Southview's own Amaya Johnson as Amanda Gorman. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Amaya Denise Johnson, and I am 8 years old. Today I am going to kick off Black History Month by reading a poem by Amanda Gorman. It is titled The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where could we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We learn that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just is isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours. Before we knew it, somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished. We are successors of a country in a time where a skinny Black girl descended from her slaves by a single mother can becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. And even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That will forever be tied together. Victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If you're to live up our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we made, that is the promise to glade. The hill we climb, if only we dare it.
Yeah.
I can see who's going to give the valedictorian speech.
Yeah, one of these two.
Greatest she for.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Amaya. Miss CEO, she sits in my chair every time she's at the YWCA.
Amaya? Amaya? Tyler? Come on up here. All the way around here. Are you allergic to peanut butter? Are you allergic to peanut butter? You don't like peanut butter? Do you like peanut butter? Okay. Hey, you can have the Reese's Pieces. You like popcorn? Okay. You get the popcorn. So you can go home and have popcorn tonight. It's already wrapped up. It's not cooked already. There you go. Congratulations. I noticed Watasha didn't open her box giveaway.
She gets all my things anyway.
Thank you both, Tyler, Amaya, Heather, Autumn, everybody from Southview. Thank you so much. And the work that you're doing is just magnificent. Do you have anything you need from us? You sure? Okay.
I mean, I did hear you say something about celebrating at Southside, and if we do exit CSI status, I'll be calling you for some party. That's what I was.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, no, we'll celebrate it.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll take you up on it.
Yeah.
Dr. Reynolds won't let us buy food.
That's a Brad. That's Brad. I'm all about spending on food.
Yeah. Well, what would you want to do? Do you want to plan it, or is that jinx it? Okay, well, we'll wait. Let me know. Okay. Early literacy.
Yeah.
President William, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, members of cabinet. So first of all, I would like to introduce Laura Sawanka. You hear a lot about her through the Indiana Literacy Cadre, Marian University, and the IDOE, and you heard about her in this presentation and several others previous too. But first of all, we are a little bit, embarrassed because we are not going to have parents and kids and teachers and all that. You're just stuck with us and not as exciting and entertaining. So we have to apologize for that from the get-go. So we're going to start with some celebrations overall. This is our second year in a row that as a district, all 6 of our elementary schools have fallen in the high growth quadrant. We are very grateful for that. Our teachers and students and staff have been working very hard to ensure that. And it just shows, again, in our data that all 6 schools are in that high growth quadrant. So growth is being made. Another representation of that is to highlight our cohort data. So the first part of this you will see from students when they were in first grade in the middle of the year, and then now they are in second grade in the middle of the year, and the growth they have made, as well as the growth that they have made from second grade last year to third grade this year. So you can see some very promising growth in a lot of those schools. For example, the current second graders have made a 19% growth at Southview in their literacy skills. And then the second to third graders have made huge gains across all 6 of our elementary schools. And progress is happening, and I think it's important to continue to highlight that. We live in a fast-paced world where we expect immediacy, right? We live in a world where we have information at our fingertips and we want things done immediately. But the progress is happening on a daily basis, just slowly and surely we're making those gains that we need. So we are continuing to implement CKLA and Bridge to Writing in our schools. CKLA, this is our second year that we have implemented. Teachers are feeling much more confident and comfortable in their teaching this year. And it shows when you go into classrooms. You see the teachers and students much more engaged with that content and digging in deep into those skills. This year's new addition was Bridge to Writing. It is from Heggerty, which a lot of our schools already implemented Heggerty phonemic awareness in their buildings. And so this year we added Heggerty Writing. Heggerty Writing is very easy to follow. That gives teachers that confidence in their learning. It also uses the I do, we do, you do gradual release model that also is very systematic for our students as well. So here are a few testimonials from some of our staff members across the district that I have received throughout the year. One thing that I think of mostly is last year at Southview. We had students that would be crying during writing cafe because writing was hard. Writing was not fun. They didn't have the stamina for it. They didn't have the skills for it. And this is an image of a Southview student right here. You can see she is smiling. She is thriving during that writing time and just absolutely loves that. I would like to highlight particularly the comment from a Northview teacher here. I've seen an increase in my students' confidence in writing, and they love when they get to share their writings on Fridays. It has also become one of my favorite things to teach. And I think that is also important. Teaching writing is not always the most fun subject to teach, but with Bridge to Writing, Heggerty, the teachers have made that shift overall and are really doing a great job with that. One of the greatest strategies that we have put in place is increasing our pre-K enrollment. This is no news to any of you. However, in the last 7 years, we have increased our pre-K enrollment from 50 students to 246, and we are continuing to increase that every year. Looking forward to seeing that. But this has been very impactful because we are now implementing a structured curriculum that has been approved by the Indiana Department of Education, and we're working hard to monitor our littlest learners in their preschool settings.
Good.
With that,
I'm
I'm sorry.
Can you go back to that slide for a second?
Yes.
So one of the things there that I think is critical to recognize is the effort that you, along with the team, have made on number of students receiving On My Way pre-K vouchers along with CCDF vouchers. For those who don't know, those are vouchers that fund the programming or help to fund the programming, because our pre-K is effectively free, correct?
Very low cost, yes.
Very low cost across the district. And so to go from 3 On My Way pre-K students to 86, or 35%, I suspect, of our total, and then the CCDF to go from 0 to 22 or 9%. Those funds are funds that come from outside the community that support Delaware County, City of Muncie students. And your efforts there have made a significant difference in our ability to undertake that expansion. So thank you.
And a large piece of this comes to my assistant, Aaron Bausman, who has helped chase us down, as well as the building level leaders and their teams. They have done a wonderful job, particularly Southview and Grissom, in making sure our families sign up, turn in the proper documentation, and following up with those families. So all the credit goes to Aaron Bausman and the school teams and following up with that. The reason those do have asterisks, or those numbers do include Longfellow Elementary School, although their funding goes to Huffer because of the systems that we have in place. But that is reflective of all MCS students that receive On My Way and CCDF funding.
A couple other items on that. Don't let down, because this will become clear in a moment. But both Dr. Reynolds and I have received inquiries from the State House, because they're looking at Muncie Community Schools saying, how on earth are you doing this? And we've pointed out that this is one component of it, and that is leveraging the available dollars of On My Way pre-K. And a lot of communities around the state have not taken advantage or maximized that program. So again, I suspect the legislature is going to be pointing out to other communities what Muncie has done, and there will be folks who try to emulate us. So no pressure, but let's stay in front of it.
We'll keep trying. I will always advocate for universal pre-K as well. So anybody that gets in front of anybody important, please advocate for that.
And Heidi, that is added, right? 86 plus 22 plus 19. So almost half of the 246 are receiving some type of funding. Thank you.
Yes, so the employee-sponsored is a grant that we wrote last year for any of our staff members. If they send their child to our pre-K, we will cover the cost of their pre-K for them as well, just to promote positive employment and that type of thing as well. So yes, and that funding will go away at the end of this year.
Yeah, Mr. Jerome did not want the financial part to go unnoticed, so
He appreciates the money brought in. So this also is just to represent the strides that I believe our pre-K, increasing our pre-K enrollment has had an impact on our overall district. So the top chart up there that is gray, orange, and blue, that is from the Essential Skills Checklist. And you can see there that the blue and orange bars are growing year after year, meaning more of our students are coming to us kindergarten ready or somewhat kindergarten ready, and that gray bar is decreasing to a 20% right now. And that was data from 2023. And you can talk to any of our kindergarten teachers. They can tell you which students have been in a pre-K facility because of the socialization aspect, the academic aspect, the emotional components of it. So very thankful for that. And the bottom chart is just a formative assessment that we are monitoring more this year with the implementation of our curriculum and how kids are kindergarten ready based on different benchmarks that we set throughout the year. So this is based off the fall benchmark. So not many kids are kindergarten ready yet based off this fall benchmark, but we will do another benchmark in February to see how they have progressed. We have several different interventions in place, as Southview already mentioned today. But one thing is we have partnered with Dr. Cassidy and the Ball State Research Design Studio, and he and his team had did a comparative predictive study that Dr. Casey kind of mentioned, where we look at a student's iReady score, and we are able to make predictions if they will pass iRead. And most of his predictions are accurate, but as Dr. Casey say, we do ask
that all of our schools look very intently at each individual student and the resources and interventions that are being put in place for those students and trying to help our students be as successful as we possibly can. But we use those predictions to guide further interventions and remediations. We use the primary spelling inventory to determine strengths and weaknesses of our students so we can cater our instruction to them. We use M-Class Dibbles. We use University of Florida Literacy Institute, better known as UFLI, Spire, and then as I mentioned earlier, Heggerty Phonemic Awareness. But the greatest support that we have had is through this Indiana Literacy Cadre in collaboration with Marian University and the Indiana Department of Education. And Laura is a large piece of that. She is here multiple times a month, a week, supporting our schools in their learning walks and in their learning. She's here to support the master teacher as well as the teachers, and it's phenomenal. She'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. Another partnership that we have at Southview, Longfellow, and Grissom, thanks to the school improvement dollars that we have received, is with Reading Futures. And this is just live online intervention for our students in grades 3 through 5. We look at and identify our top need of students, and they receive 45 minutes of 4-on-1 online instruction 4 days a week. You will see here down at the bottom, those are iReady scores from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And you can see, again, that green and yellow grew substantially from the beginning to the middle. On the right side, you will see this is, again, part of Dr. Gerald Cassidy and his design team or his research team's data. And this shows the Z-score between students who participated in Reading Futures and similar students in a control group. And you can see the slope of that orange line there and the large increase that those students took that did participate in Reading Futures. Again, one of the most impactful supports that we've had here is with Laura Sawanka and the Literacy Cadre. Laura works with our master teachers, and the greatest thing that Laura has brought to Muncie Community Schools is the concept of learning walks. And learning walks actually started in the medical field, and it offers a structure for educators to work together to identify and solve problems related to learning and teaching. And it's used within schools across districts to raise the quality of instructions. So learning walks allow our teachers to observe their colleagues with real students in real time, and it really creates that reflective dialogue. So during a learning walk, we'll talk about a little bit more in specifics here about that. Anything you would like to add? We always talk about our why. And why do we do learning walks? The greatest influence of learning walks is increasing that collective teacher efficacy. The belief that as a group, we can positively impact our students, teachers working together to achieve all student success. It builds a strong and respectful school culture, and it helps focus our work. And you heard Ms. Thompson talk about her role as being a host teacher and putting herself in that vulnerable situation to have her colleagues come in to grow and learn and take that leadership role. So the day of the actual learning walk is just the tip of the iceberg. When somebody comes in, such as myself or a district admin, to watch the learning walk, there's already been 3 to 4 weeks of planning, instruction, modeling, teaching that has taken place prior to this one-day event, this 1.5 hour. There's been multiple hours before that. So the leadership team works with the teachers and works with student data to determine the instructional practice that needs to be reinforced. The master teacher will identify a couple of teachers to work with for 3 to 4 weeks. Again, modeling that, co-teaching with them, observing them in their classroom before the day of the learning walk. There is a lot of preparation that goes into this, but the impact is worth that. On the actual day of the learning walk, the master teacher will set the stage for the observing teachers. So the observing teachers come in. The master teacher has already found coverage for those individuals to come so they can learn from their colleagues. We review the norms, look at our learning focus, go over the observation tool, and we always have a Post-it note to leave positive feedback on our host teacher's desk as we walk out the door. From there, we transition to the classroom where we stay anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. The observing teachers go in and do just that. They observe the teachers. They reflect on their own practices. They have a note sheet that they use to record their observations that then we will use to later debrief after the learning walk occurs. And then from there, we meet and debrief. The first thing we do is celebrate the host teachers. So they come in and it's like a basketball game and we're all cheering them on and hooping and hollering and giving them all the kudos for opening up their classrooms for us in that moment. And then the host teacher will share a little bit of the process leading up to the actual observation. So they share with the team, this is what the master teacher and I identified. This is how we've been working on the strategy. This is how we identified the kids. We do have guided questions that we use on these learning walks, but honestly, the teacher conversation usually is so rich in dialogue that we don't even need those guiding questions because the teachers just kind of lend themselves to that. One time, I believe in November, we had a learning walk at Southview, and the dialogue it was amazing to listen to the teachers feed off one another. And we said that we wish we would have recorded it to have that to share with anyone. But Dr. Casey said that she could send her teachers to the greatest PD ever. She could send them to the greatest destination, to the greatest PD. But the learning and the collective teacher efficacy that takes place from these experiences are more beneficial than sending any teacher to that professional development outside of our district, because it is with our peers, it is with real students, it's in real time, and that is much more impactful than listening to a speaker present and talk in those opportunities. So Laura wanted to share a little bit about what she sees as the greatest impact from being an outside perspective and the impact she sees on Muncie schools.
It is with great excitement that I'm here with you today. I have just had the honor and the privilege to be partnering with Muncie Community Schools for the last year and a half. And just, the growth that I've seen in a very short amount of time is just, it's been a career highlight, and it's been life-changing for me to have this opportunity to do this alongside all of you. I have seen these learning walks, I'm in every school every month, sometimes multiple times a month. But then I support the master teachers virtually through, virtual calls or just telephone calls, email, leading up to these learning walks. So in between visits. And we've really used this as, it's an avenue, it's been a catalyst for improving instructional methods. We have watched teacher knowledge grow tremendously through this, and, just at an accelerated rate. It's just been very efficient and very effective. It has created that culture of collaboration and trust. It's empowered teachers. Like Heidi said, we have just watched, and it's just, when you see it, you can't unsee it, but that collective teacher efficacy grow in staff. And it breaks down those walls and removes teachers from isolation. That's not where they should be. The classroom doors should be open and they should be working together. And then we've been able to take a lot of school district-wide initiatives and adopt them, like I said, effectively and efficiently. And these teachers, these are some Southview teachers on the screen now. It's everything to me as a teacher myself, for them to feel valued and seen, for them to be, the professionals that they are. And just the development of a shared sense of mission together.
Another great piece of the learning walks is that has brought a lot of our elementary schools together. So Amy hosted a learning walk in her building at Southview, and all 5 of the other elementary master teachers came and participated in that. And then Amy has went to some of those schools and helped present and lead learning walks at those schools. And then Faith Surf and Amy have teamed up, and now they're supporting some of our other schools. So it's a cancer, and it's growing in a good way, and I love it. So we are very thankful, but this has been one of the greatest literacy supports and updates that we could provide to you, and we would encourage you and invite you to attend any of our learning walks that we have taking place across our district.
Could you let us, do you have a schedule of those in advance?
Not off the top of my head, but yes.
If you want to send it to the board.
Okay.
I'm sure some of us may be able to join you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lord,
we would love that.
Could you spell your last name for me?
Mm-hmm. C as in cat, Z as in zebra, ERWIONKA.
I was not close.
Just like you sounded that, right?
Any questions for either of you?
Absolutely.
Laura, from the time you started to now, are we making progress?
You're definitely making progress. Yeah, and it's, for me, it's been such a delight to be a part of, but I knew from the first month I stepped foot in Muncie that 2 years, I hated to think about it only being a 2-year partnership. First of all, 2 years isn't nearly enough to do this work, and I would love to be able to follow a cohort from kindergarten to first to second to third grade, and that's when we're really going to see the impact, the everlasting impact of these efforts. So.
Thank you for your support, and Ms. White, thank you for all the work that you do as well. Well done. I want to take a moment before we move on to the next segment of the agenda as part of the Southview program in the Spotlight, and recognize we have, I think, folks from here from Real Black Excellence. Raise your hands for us. Thank you so much for your continued devotion to Southview and the work that you do, and taking the time to come to this meeting and support your Southview family. It is very much appreciated, so thank you. At this point, Dr. Reynolds, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, I will be brief, but just a couple of updates and some celebrations. First of all, I'd like to thank parents. As we deal with inclement weather, those decisions are always very difficult to make. So I appreciate the patience and the flexibility that we're all trying to exercise good judgment to keep students safe. So last week it was a challenging, frigid week, and but we made it through all right, and that's because of the grace and the flexibility of our parents, and of course our staff, and especially our bus team. That was the 2-hour delay was certainly needed on Tuesday after the setting for the weekend. Our buses needed a little extra attention to get moving on that Tuesday morning. So thank you for that. Second, I want to recognize Brian Jerome at Southside Middle School and the robotics team. They continue to compete this season, and they've qualified their second team and second robot for the state competition, which is coming up not too near future, March. So that will be another great and exciting opportunity for our kids there. Black History Month kicks off on Saturday. We partner with the Dream Team, the MLK Dream Team, that puts together an essay contest, which will kick off at Minnetrista on Saturday at 10 a.m., where we'll recognize a number of folks, including some essay winners, which we had some again this year. So that'll be a terrific ceremony and another great opportunity to celebrate our kids. And then finally, we are wrapping up our winter sports season. Certainly doesn't feel like that outside, but I think the girls' high school basketball sectional draw was Sunday, so that's the first tip of the hat that we're coming down to the end of the season at the high school, and that will follow our middle school seasons as well. So if you get a chance, get out and check out some of our wonderful athletes. We've had a really terrific athletic season this winter, and hope that continues as we wrap it up in tournament time.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Any questions for Dr. Reynolds? Any questions? Okay. We'll go on to the consent agenda. There are a number of items in that for your consideration. I do want to ask if any of our new hires happen to be here this evening. Come on up.
Oh, you should have kept your hand down.
Come on up. Please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves and where you're going to be.
Yes, I am Marlene Barrera. I was just recently hired at Muncie Central to be the new ENL teacher.
I actually did my student teaching at Central with Emily Rains in the World Language Department.
Yes.
So that's where I am right now.
Well, thank you, Marlena. Are you looking forward to it?
I am. I love it. I just started a couple weeks ago, so.
Okay.
I love it.
So you weren't official yet, but tonight we'll make you official. So Brad, you can pay her. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Chicago. I just graduated from Ball State this December. So, but I fell in love with Muncie, so here I am.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you at
Thank you
Central
so
and
much.
to add so much to that program. So thank you. And your name?
My name is Emma Jacobs. I am the new 6th grade math teacher at Southside Middle School. So I started yesterday. Yeah, it's been a joyride, but
Well,
it's
we
been nice.
are very, very happy for you to join the Southside
Thank
family.
you. Thank you.
And please stick around.
I plan on it. I really like the community there.
It is a nice group of people, and that the young students desperately need you
Yes.
and what you can bring to them.
Yes, and it's nice to be closer to home.
Where are you from?
I'm from Blackford. I live in Hartford City. I went to Blackford County, but I went to college at Purdue.
Okay.
So it was nice to do my student teaching at Blackford, and to be back home.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we're glad you've joined the Muncie Community
Thank
School
you.
family. Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, Andrea Mann is going to be joining us at Longfellow Elementary, and Brandon Hayes, excited about that, is going to be our interim dean of students at Southside Middle School. Just curious, why do we characterize as an interim?
Wanted to give some flexibility at the end of the year. We know Mr. McCracken is going to retire at the end of the year.
Okay.
Just wanted to give ourselves some flexibility on.
In terms of titles and
Yep.
such? Okay,
Yep.
okay. Just want to make sure that we were good with Brandon. He's ready. Has he started?
Yep, he started, and he's off to a terrific start.
Good.
He's been great. Eric was at Southside today and got to just check in with him, and he's been an asset.
Well, I was very excited to see the middle school basketball tournament Fieldhouse this weekend. And Southside, that's a good team.
Yes, it is.
The Southside team's a good team.
Yep.
The 8th grade team. 7th grade team looked good too.
They have stuck together, and they've won a lot of games, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful that Coach Ullum is making sure to reach out to those 8th graders.
Yes.
They're going to be a popular group. Any additional questions concerning the consent agenda? If not, would entertain a motion to approve.
Move approve.
Here a second?
Second.
It's been seconded, moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We'll show that passes. Mr. Jerome, we're on to the workers' comp and cyber insurance renewal. Those materials are in your packet. I believe we're seeing the premiums.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, that's presented in your
screen.
packet. And it's, their renewal lines up 1 month differently than our property casualty and general liability insurance. So I'll bring that to you tonight. It's only an increase of $5,356. So that's pretty modest. So that's what we present to the board tonight for approval. The cyber insurance is with a company called Coalition Company, and workers' comp is with IPEP. Those are changes from our previous year's carrier, but that is the information we have presented that was brought to us from our insurance consultants there at USI. So asking the board for those approvals tonight.
Brad, it certainly appeared that USI is comfortable with the stability of both of those insurers.
Yeah, that's correct. And for workers' comp, as an example, we were with IPEP 2 years ago, so there's a very limited field for workers' comp. So IPEP is, we have gone back and forth with them, but we're just trying to chase the lowest price, because workers' comp is pretty much governed by your loss modification number, so.
But that wasn't true with cyber, right? The lowest.
Yes, cyber is a different, cyber the previous year, we were with Travelers, and this, we're actually getting a way higher coverage for that
So we're
slight
paying more,
increase
but
of
we're
price.
getting more coverage. I
Right,
think
correct.
that's the point that
Right.
I think we want to make sure.
They felt like that was the best option for us.
Does the cyber insurance offer legal representation in the event of ransomware?
Oh, yeah, yes, yes.
As the insurer for cyber, do they come in and look at our risks?
Oh, it's
Do they
very,
put you- do they
it's
put
very
you-
extensive. Now, what they do, not only is it paper application, they test your system electronically all the time. Just received some tests on how they had done some things this morning that we turn over to our data processing team to take a look at. So they're continually testing your systems to make sure. And it's really changed. Cyber insurance has really changed over the last 10 years or so because of the level of threats that are out there in the world. So we all know that, so.
Okay. So I would assume that we need a motion on the approval of both of these, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Asking for a motion to approve as presented.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. High school redesign, is that where we are? Curriculum and handbook? You have materials in your packet on the curriculum redesign?
Yeah, good evening, President Williams and board and cabinet. It's the time of year where we look at updating our high school curriculum handbook. Maybe a little bit behind where we normally are because we had to wait for the state board to approve what the new diploma is going to look like, because that then impacts the courses that'll go into our curriculum handbook. So tonight I'm here to review some of those changes and then ask for a motion to adopt the curriculum handbook. The curriculum handbook is there as one of your attachments. It's 140 to 50 some pages. It contains all of our curricular offerings, the ones that some we don't even teach currently at the present time, but they are in there in case we do need them. The form I would suggest you take a look at is the changes. I think those are probably the things to highlight here. With that, what we've added is kind of an explanation on page 4 of the new diploma type, which will be coming for our current 8th graders, which is the class of 2029. The other thing that's kind of important, and I'll get to this in my presentation, that we've added is the new diploma credit requirements for each subject. Now there's going to be 42 credits instead of the core 40, and then it also has the seals there, so that's been added into the handbook. We've added a couple of courses into our handbook, or I guess programs. One is the Freshman Academy, which will be a kind of a team model in the high school that will help transition incoming freshmen into the high school. I think one of the biggest things we've seen, and data supports this, is our freshmen struggle the most with getting their credits, and then also, behaviorally and things like that. So kind of a more comprehensive approach to that group as they transition in from the middle school to the high school is what we're after with the Freshman Academy. We want them to have a more off to a good solid foundation and have a good high school experience. There's data out there that shows if you're on track at the end of your freshman year, you're much more likely to graduate high school than if you're off track. So we've added a course called Freshman Seminar. Freshman Seminar will go over a variety of topics that help a student be very successful when they are in high school. So could be note-taking, study skills, just different kinds of communication, things that they will need to know as a student coming into Muncie Central, which is probably a little different than what they've had in elementary or middle school when it comes to getting credits, things like that each semester. So the Freshman Seminar will be a credited class by the way we have it set up. On page 44 and 45, we've added the honor graduate policy, which was approved by the board a couple years ago. This will go into effect with our current juniors. We will no longer have a valedictorian and salutatorian. We will have the honor graduates there, and you can see the requirements for that and how you get to be an honor graduate and recognized at graduation, and the different levels of praise there kind of follows the collegiate setting. And like I said, that was approved by the board a couple years ago. It's not been added to the handbook because we are now to the point where we need it in our handbook next year. Our current juniors who will be seniors next year will be the first group where we will not recognize a valedictorian or salutatorian, but we'll have these cum laude and magna cum laude and summa cum laude recognitions for that. So that's added to the handbook for the first time. And then we've had to add a few other courses to the handbook based on the high school redesign. Courses that we do not have in there that are now required. One of those is Intro to Communications. This will be a freshman level class that'll be part of seminar. So we need that course in our catalog. Added an honors algebra course, which we've not had because typically our 8th graders take honors algebra in middle school. But what we found, and one of the things we found in our process checks, is we have some students that maybe didn't take that in middle school or have moved in that need this class, and the teachers kind of advocated for a little higher level of algebra with some of our kids that have not taken it yet. So we've asked to add that course. And then finally, the computing foundations for the digital age needs to be added to our course. That is a graduation requirement now for computer science. This course will also be part of freshman seminar, teaching the foundations of computing, computer science, the network, internet data, different things like that, to our freshman students as they take the freshman seminar class. So those are the kind of the highlights of the big adds to our curriculum handbook. I guess I would start with any questions as far as the additions to the handbook.
Any questions for Mr. Graham? So let me make sure that I understand. All of our students have to fit within in one of the honor seals. Is that right?
No. So let's get into the high school redesign. I'll just give you a brief overview of that, and it'll answer that question and maybe some of the others. High school redesign obviously is complex. We could do a whole meeting on that. So this is just some highlights. As we look there, just based on this past year, Muncie Central had a very high graduation rate, one of the higher ones they've had in many years. Central does a phenomenal job of getting kids credits and alternative programs and finding ways to make kids successful. Looking at our diploma types, and this kind of gets into your question a little bit, last year, 72% of our students received a Core 40, 17% received an academic honors diploma, 3% a technical honors diploma, and 8% the general diploma. So that's what is currently the diploma types for our current students. It will be the diploma types for our students of our freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and this year. So every kid that's in high school now still follows those same diploma requirements. Our 8th graders will be the ones that start with these new diploma requirements. So, and that's kind of mentioned on the next thing, the current kids in high school will remain on the current Core 40 diploma requirements. However, they can opt in for the new diploma, but they must also earn a seal. And we'll talk a little bit about seals here in a minute. But if they want to use the new diploma and do the 42 credits, because some of the course requirements are different, they also must have to earn a seal. So that is an additional requirement put on by the state board, that they can't just switch to the new requirements because maybe the math courses work out for them, they actually have to earn a seal as well. So Central has done a phenomenal job in getting ready for this. They're prepared to look at students that'll be sophomores, juniors, and seniors to see, okay, is the Core 40 their best option, or do we need to start, these students on maybe a track to earn a seal, because the new diploma would be the best option for them to graduate. So that'll just be on an individual case-by-case student as we kind of go through that process as to which diploma, they are best suited to reach. Next steps, that's the end. So where are we at? New diploma requirements. So beginning with this, every high school student has to have personal finance, which also begins, I believe, with this year's freshmen. That'll be a course that's offered at Muncie Central as juniors and seniors, as they've kind of gotten a little more experience in some of that, as far as maybe having a job and some different things. It increases the credit requirements from 40, we have an Indiana Core 40, to 42. But there is also, even though there are more credits, I think there's some more flexibility with the credits and how they earn them. They still must maintain the buckets that we've talked about over the last several years. It started with the class of 2023 for employability skills and post-secondary readiness. Those haven't gone away, so you still have to have those with the new diploma. And there are 6 additional seals above the regular diploma. So the regular diploma, the new diploma, the future Indiana diploma, is kind of now the new bare minimum. So you do not have to earn a seal to earn that diploma.
And that's where I got confused. You only have to earn a seal if you transition now.
That's correct. That's correct. So the new Indiana diploma replaces the Core 40, and it also eliminates the general diploma. There's no longer a general diploma. So we currently have a general diploma for students that don't meet all the criteria in the Core 40. We have to apply for a waiver. That's a very low percentage of our students, but that diploma will be no more starting with the current 8th graders, the class of 2029.
And they're just calling it the new Indiana diploma.
Yes, that will replace the Core 40. So that's what's in all their documentation so far, the new Indiana diploma.
So they didn't spend a ton of time on that.
They didn't. The title of that is maybe a little lacking right now, so maybe that'll change. So on the slide, you can find this all over the internet. It's probably the easiest thing to look at. It compares the current Core 40 and what students have to take now compared to what they're going to have to take. So kind of goes through some of the requirements there.
The biggest change is you got 12 credits elective, which is where I suspect you fit yourself into one of these categories, right? So category being enrollment, employment, enlistment. I mean, is that where you? Yeah,
very, very much so. With some of the old electives, they were kind of directed. You kind of you can see the 5 and the 6 there that you had to do. You had to do some in art and some in different things. This kind of opens it up to 12 of any subject, which gets to your point of something that you want to do, either will help you in maybe your enrollment in post-secondary or your employment. You can take courses maybe more aligned to what you're wanting to do as a future career there.
So what are we doing at Central in terms of counseling our students as they make these choices in terms of their aptitude, their desire? This is going to create a good deal more flexibility, and I can just see this being a situation where our counselors are going to have more work than they can do.
They do, but we do have partners for some of that. So we partner with Project Leadership. We have a couple career coaches in our building. We take the U Science assessment inventory, which goes through aptitude and interest of our students to try to gain what they like, and then also what they're good at through these assessments. So all of our students have taken that at Central, or a large majority of them. Now just every freshman takes it when they come in.
So you have that data.
So we have the
early.
data. They meet with they meet with a lot of the students. They will use some of this data in the freshman seminar and the classes there. And really one of the goals at Central and one of the things we've talked about is at the end of their freshman year, trying to have the students declare kind of a pathway and a seal that they want to try to achieve. And that way we can maybe build their schedules and their high school experience around some of those things. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to do that. If they start down one path and they don't like it, they can always change. You got to have that flexibility with kids, and especially when we're giving them experiences, it's just as valuable to find out maybe what they don't like as it is what they do like. But yeah, it does take a whole team effort there. The counselors, our career coaches, and some of our staff, like our freshman on-track coordinator and some different family navigator, different people in place at Central that are going to have to carry some of this load of getting our kids kind of ready and pointed and directed and helping on one of those paths.
Katie, you and Natasha have students in high school. How do you see this playing out?
I think it's similar to what they're already kind of doing. Like I felt like, especially with my oldest, that it is more kind of directed to what he's interested in. So I feel it'll just be a natural extension. I think you've probably got a good handle on what was already going on. So I think
that you felt like some of this was familiar.
yeah,
Same.
yes,
Okay,
definitely.
good.
On the next slide is the seals. There are 6 different types of seals. There's an enrollment, an employment, and an enlistment and service seal for each of them. These kind of replace the academic and technical honors diplomas. And then, so for enrollment, there's certain criteria that each student has to make. For employment, they have to make, and then enlistment, they have to make. And then there's a seal above that, which is an Honors Plus seal. So there's an enrollment Honors Plus seal, an employment Honors Plus seal, and an enlistment Honors Plus seal. So those carry different kinds of things. So there's a lot to keep track of here as far as these seals. Our goal, at Muncie Central will be for every student to earn a seal. So now, will that happen? Probably not in reality. But we do want our students to kind of declare at the end of their freshman year what seal they want to start working toward, and then set up their coursework and their experiences for that. If I'm looking at an employment seal, we got to make sure those kids get 150 hours of work-based learning, in their high school experience. So we've got to set up those experiences and their schedule and different things, to meet that so they can earn that seal.
Is the state doing anything to incentivize students to earn a particular seal?
I don't know if the state's doing anything. I think when we look at diploma strength as far as a school, the seals will determine our diploma strength. So you'll have a stronger diploma strength as a school if higher percentage of your students are earning seals, kind of like what they do now with the academic and technical honors. That adds to our.
There's just honor seal and honors plus seal, right?
That's correct.
And enrollment is akin to what I would think of as college preparatory.
Post-secondary, yes. Some sort of post-secondary enrollment.
Employment is vocational technical.
Yep.
Enlistment is military service.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a way to get 2 seals? Probably, or is there enough time? Akin to a double major?
Maybe. I don't know. I've not been asked that question, but I think it's possible to get 2 seals, but that could be a challenge. So
Carrie has been working very closely with Chris and Eric on this as well. But yeah, I think it's possible.
It's possible if the students can meet all of the criteria and schedule, just like now they can get technical honors and
right.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
So that was just a handful of our students last year at Central got both of those honors. They typically have to come out here to the Career Center for that technical honors part of the diploma. And
It sounds more complicated than I think it is. If that makes sense, like
It does,
Yeah.
so.
Well, they do such a nice
Right.
job of putting it all in these really tiny
Oh, yeah.
So.
boxes that
That's
none
what
of
we're
us,
praying for.
nobody over 50 can read it. So, okay, so everybody for now, 2025-28 remains on Core 40 unless they opt into the 42, the new.
Correct.
If the opters in have to get a seal.
Correct.
To graduate.
Correct.
Do they understand that?
I'm not sure. I think that's so new that I don't know that that's really been rolled out.
'Cause I
That
can see
just came out at the state board just in the last few weeks. So,
Okay, and then we've added some courses.
Yep,
Just out
so-
of curiosity, we adopted the honor structure similar to the college, the cum laude, magna cum laude, summa cum laude. What's the impetus to leave behind valedictorian, salutatorian?
It was I came from student council.
Yeah. Did it?
Although I think my student very unhappy with that.
Celebrate more students and their efforts.
Okay.
yeah, I think that more students for their efforts is probably the
Yeah,
biggest
I
thing
wanted
that
to
I've
make,
heard.
I just wanted to make certain we weren't imposing that on them.
No, that came from them, and they came and presented that a few years ago, and
I totally agree.
some students chase that GPA and chase those weighted grades in those classes, and this is a way to, instead of just rewarding two, we could have, many.
Don't we have
Many
a significant
students.
scholarship that goes to the valedictorian traditionally?
It usually goes to a valedictorian, but not necessarily
Not necessarily.
because of the
Okay,
valedictorian.
just want to make certain.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I guess mathematically, we'll always have who we know has the highest GPA, but
And they'll know.
yeah.
They'll know.
They know.
They will
And they will-
absolutely know.
And they certainly will know. You're correct.
They will certainly know. They know where they are.
Told by a student at the MLK ceremony, she had a 5.0 the other day. So she was they definitely know their GPA. Next steps would be to adopt the handbook. Our staff and counselor PD is underway. Muncie Central, I think, has done an exceptional job this year, led by Mr. Walker, in explaining this out to his staff, making sure that they understand it, making sure that they have the PD to understand, especially our guidance counselors, on what the changes are here. We have an 8th grade parent night at February 13th, where we'll start to meet with the families and parents. When I was at Southside today, some of the 8th grade classrooms that I was in, I was asking them and telling them that they needed to come, and it was a good thing to know that they had heard about this from their teachers at Southside. So they're aware that this night is coming up. We usually have really good attendance at that night. And then we just have to keep monitoring, the updates from the IDOE, the approved classes, how you're going to track all of this, what other kind of guidance comes, because there are some things out there that the IDOE has not released yet, as far as, what documents going to count to show work ethic, or what some of this exactly looks like, and then how to track it data-wise, so we know that this student has met everything in the diploma to graduate. So
If somebody were to ask us at the grocery, why is the state revamping the diploma, what would be?
I would say it gives students more flexibility, and it meets the better needs of Indiana communities. So it allows students to still continue on those post-secondary ventures if they want to go into college. It also emphasizes employment, maybe outside of a career center. Don't have to go to a career center to do that. And then it's really meant to help and potentially bolster enlistment, which I believe was at an all-time low in Indiana over the last couple years, and even nationwide. So I think it's to give kids more flexibility, opportunities, experiences in high school that allow them to be ready for a high-wage, high-demand job when they leave high school.
Is the state still pursuing a goal of 60% of our high school graduates obtaining post-secondary certification or degree?
Yeah, so, and I think that's even down in the 50s now that
It's
are,
52 or 53.
53,
in
yep.
terms of matriculation.
Yep.
The actual graduation is significantly lower than that.
Yes, correct.
So we're in our 30s.
Yep.
So where I'm going with this question is understanding the significant lifetime wage difference between somebody who has post-high school education and somebody who doesn't. Does this structure tend to incentivize certain students to not focus on a post-secondary opportunity?
I guess in my opinion, it doesn't. So I think the students still on that track will be on that track. So I think it allows them to some flexibility in some of their courses, and it also holds them to a fairly high set of rigor that's still in place, because I think that was one of the concerns initially of this diploma by several of our post-secondary institutions when they first presented this, that the requirements weren't rigorous enough to get into college. So they've revamped this quite a bit from the initial rollout to make sure that, these things are still in place for our post-secondary students to be
And I
ready.
just want to make certain all of our students understand, when we talk about personal finance, the economic reality of having some post-secondary education versus having none.
Yeah, they used to say that was $1 million more in a lifetime. I'm sure it's probably more than
It is
that now.
It is
So,
statistically a very significant number.
Yeah.
And working in technically heavy manufacturing requires post-secondary education.
Sure.
So I just want to be careful as we see that, and I want our folks to watch carefully the demographic to make certain that we're not unintentionally shortchanging our students.
Sure.
Any additional questions? Okay, so we have a request to approve the curriculum handbook changes, the offerings, and the redesigned diploma. Anything else, Mr. Graham?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll show that pass. Thank you, Mr. Graham, for all of your work. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Carrie, thank
welcome.
you for your work on that. Early Literacy Grant 2025.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Reynolds, everyone present. It's our great opportunity to present our MCS Board annual policy for English Language Arts. We received a grant from IDOE, as everyone across the state, based upon our early literacy grant and our IRE scores. Last year, for 2024, we received as a district $107,361. This year, we've received $36,200.99.
Is that because our scores went up a little bit?
It's based on our IRE data.
I think we had greater growth
Right.
last year from where we started in a few schools.
Yeah, all good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And so last year, we had a tier 1 and a tier 2 level. Due to the amount, we have tier 1. And so that's presented on the outline that it would be certified teachers. And teachers had to be hired by January 20th of the school year when we received the money. So they had to be hired by January 20th. It's K-3 teachers, and the HR administrative assistants and I are already pulling out who those teachers are. They cannot be in unpaid status. And then also on that second page, we will have those that were rated highly effective last school year will get 25% more than those that are rated effective teachers. And that's how we did it last year. It's based on teachers that worked with students in K through 3rd grade last school year. But they just awarded the money in December, and we have to have it sent through payroll to teachers by March 28th.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. Bell. Would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Pose same sign. Okay, thank you. Would entertain, we've been here a while, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We got a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Oh, is that where you gotta go? I didn't know where the meet was.
Yeah, Yorktown.
Yorktown.